Barbara, please, look at me. I'm sorry, Dick, but I just can't. But why? Because my eyes were painted sideways.
Welcome to 5 Points of Articulation, where I review action figures and then articulate 5 points to help you decide if you want to add that figure to your collection. The 5 points I discuss are packaging, presentation, posability, playability, and price. I'm Jason, and if you enjoy my content, please like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube rigmarole.
To celebrate the release of Gotham Knights, today we're taking a belated look at the DC Multiverse, Nightwing, and Batgirl. This video was actually a special request, but unfortunately I don't remember who it was that asked for it. If you're out there, sound off in the comments and, well, I hope you like it. Starting off with the packaging, and we know the drill. Names and logos down here. Tiny little Gotham Knights logo up top. Names and logos on the side. I do like that they include the Gotham Knights logo up here. Down here we got the legal. If you're using apps like BrickSeek, here's a barcode for Nightwing. And here's a barcode for Barbara. Interestingly enough, she's listed as DC Gaming Wave 6, whereas Nightwing is just listed as DC Multiverse Wave 5. A couple of pretty cool images on the back. Nightwing seems to be surveying the same smoky city that Red Hood was. I really love this rooftop image of Batgirl. Based on the lack of pins, I'm thinking it's a digital render and not a photograph. At a glance, I'm already not sure about how I feel about what comes inside the box, but for packaging, Gotham Knights gets 1 whole point. Moving on to presentation, Batgirl stands at 6 3/4 inches. Nightwing stands at just under 7 1/4. Both figures are 100% new sculpts with designs taken from the Gotham Knights video game. Starting with Batgirl, and she seems to have taken her cues more from the Yvonne Craig look from the original Adam West series. This is evident in the purple and yellow bodysuit. As always, McFarlane's done a great job of texturing the various materials. Also kind of reminds me of Stephanie Brown. And between the two-tone purple bodysuit and the yellow, there's a lot of paintwork in here. More of that traveling down the leg. Great wrinkles on the sides. One curious choice is that her feet are yellow, but on the back it looks like the whole boot should be yellow. Not having played the game, I don't exactly know what's supposed to be more accurate, but stepping back, and I do feel that all yellow probably would have looked better. Speaking of yellow, and flipping around, we can see her cape. Also been textured pretty well. Also stepping back, there does seem to be a bit of a proportion issue. The diaper is definitely not wide enough for the legs, the arms seem kind of thick, and the torso seems a bit small. Moving on up to the head, and she has the dreaded side eye, and a domino mask that kind of reminds me of Alicia Silverstone. Because that's what you want to remind people of, Batman and Robin. That said, she does have a couple of ears poking out. I really like this shade of red for the hair, and it was sculpted pretty well, and now that I have it in hand, I actually like it a lot better. Nightwing seems like a pretty straightforward adaptation of his comic book look. Lots of panels and padding have been added, but otherwise it's a simple black bodysuit with some blue highlights. They've done a great job with the logo, and I do like the bits of blue punched in here and there. I also really like how the jacket comes down instead of there being a diaper. But don't worry, all of you out there who like to oogle Nightwing's booty. And yes, for those of you who don't know, that's a thing. Oddly enough, the black of that section doesn't really match. There's almost a green iridescent quality to it. Kind of like what you sometimes see on roast beef. More pouches, panels, and ribbing in the legs, and he seems to be wearing some very sensible sneakers. Not entirely sure how I feel about this face. The mask was definitely sculpted well and the eyes are punched in nice. Mouth seems a little bit off. The hair, however, seems absolutely perfect for Nightwing. And flipping him around, there's actually some holders for his Scrimmasticks. Between the two figures, I have to admit, I like Nightwing better. He just more closely resembles my image of the character. But Batgirl, while somewhat disproportionate, does have some really good sculpted texture and paintwork. For presentation, I'm giving Gotham Knights 1 whole point. Moving on to posability, and both figures have heads on dumbbell joints. Dick can look up a little bit, but Barbara can't because of her hair. They can both look down just fine though. Again, no tilt for Barbara, but they can both look side to side. Each figure has swivel hinge shoulders that raise up this far, and forward and back with a butterfly joint. They also have bicep swivel, Batgirl's is hidden underneath the sleeve, and double jointed elbows. They also have McFarlane wrist balls that do all the McFarlane wrist ball things. Shifting to the torso, and that's the biggest difference between the two. Nightwing has a diaphragm joint and a dumbbell waist. He can arch back this far, which is great, but does make him look a bit segmented, and he can hunch forward this far, which admittedly isn't much. That's due in large part to the fact that both of these sections are pointing forward, which means it is fighting against itself. That said, he can tilt, and twist. Batgirl, on the other hand, is limited to a single dumbbell joint in the waist. Using that dumbbell, she can arch back this far and hunch forward this far. I assume that McFarlane handled it this way because of her diminutive size and to not break up the sculpt. That said, I think that a diaphragm joint hidden underneath the bust line would probably have worked just fine. But of course she can also tilt and twist. Below the utility belt, and both of them have the typical McFarlane hips. Batgirl can kick forward this far and do a perfect split. Nightwing can kick this far and also do a perfect split. They do get a bit of twist at the hip. They also have double jointed knees, toe articulation, and McFarlane ankle balls that can swivel, hinge, and pivot. At first I thought about docking Batgirl points because of the lack of diaphragm joint, but then I remembered that Nightwing doesn't exactly have a whole lot of range in that department either, and if I'm honest, neither do most DC Multiverse figures, and since I never penalized them for it for posability, I'm giving Gotham Knights 1 whole point. Moving on to playability, in addition to the typical trading card and figure stand, Nightwing also comes with his Scrimmastics. These ones definitely look like they do a number on you. I really appreciate the blue and white punched in, and again, he can carry them on his back like so. Honestly, that's a pretty nice feature. Batgirl has whatever this is. On the one hand, it looks kind of like a police baton, which is appropriate considering her father is Commissioner Gordon. On the other hand, there's some tech details up here which make me wonder if it's some sort of a projectile weapon, maybe a combination baton and taser. If you've played the game, feel free to tell me in the comments. Either way, the pink details are nice. She can hold it like so, but admittedly she doesn't have a very good grip on it. She can hold it with either hand, but the hands seem a bit small for the handle. But hey, anything's better than Red Hood's finger guns. But playability is more than just accessories, it's also about how well your figure plays with others, and giving you a chance to oogle Nightwing's booty. First, some other Nightwings, and here we have the DC Designer Series Grey Capullo version, here we have DC Essentials, and DC Multiverse. I don't have the blue version, but I did recently pick up this one from the Red Hood 2-pack. And then for a couple of Batgirls, and here we have DC Essentials. We can definitely see that Burnside influence in the new figure. And then here we have the DC Multiverse Art of the Crime. Similar mask situation here. Moving over to Red Hood, and here we have the DC Essentials version. Here we have the original DC Multiverse version, 3 Jokers, and Gotham Knights. Speaking of Gotham Knights, and here we have Tim Drake. Really makes me think Batgirl should be bigger. For more Tim Drake, however, and here we have Mattel Multiverse, and McFarlane Multiverse Red Robin. Yum! Lastly, here we have Damian. For some villains, and here we have the Gotham Knights Scarecrow, Arkham Origins Deathstroke, the 2-pack version of Hush, DC Designer Series Riddler, and then for some Jokers, and here we have Arkham Asylum, Mortal Kombat 11, and the 3 Jokers Comedian. Of course, where there's Joker, Batman can't be far behind. Here we have Detective Comics 1000, Flashpoint, Battle Damage Grey Capullo, Future State, who for some reason is missing a hand, Dark Detective, he seems to really fit in with this game's aesthetic. Here we have Page Punchers, definitely a bit on the short side. Here we have the Injustice 2 Page Punchers, also a bit short. Here we have Battinson, this could definitely work for live action. Batfleck, again, kinda short but works for me. And lastly, here we have Rebirth, also too short, and Batman from the 3 Jokers. For a relative scale comparison, here they are with Pizza Spidey and the Spectacular Spider-Man, and as always, here they are with Stealth Iron Man. Overall, this is a nice little set, and I do hope they make more skins from the game and also other characters. I also think you can get away with using them in other corners of your display. For playability, I'm giving Gotham Knights 1 whole point. This leaves us with nothing left to discuss but the price. Both figures retail for $19.99 and are readily available on Amazon for even less right now. Considering how expensive the original DC Multiverse Nightwing is on the aftermarket, this is a wonderful, affordable substitute. And Batgirl, while not perfect, is still a nice figure for those who prefer her purple costume. I didn't see it coming, but for price, I'm giving Gotham Knights 1 whole point for a grand total of 5 out of 5. For more Gotham Knights, check out this Tim Drake versus, or this 4-way Red Hood versus. Are you excited for the game, or do you just care about the action figures? Sound off in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again real soon, but until then, play nice and have fun.